Last thing, Joe Budden Podcast. What do you think? Number one, what I really wanted to say is that Rory and Mal is still not back. Yeah. It's been a few weeks now, and I think he has Ice, and I forgot the other guy filling in for them right now. And it's fucked up because the show is just as good without Rory and Mal. And obviously, as a Joe, someone who really used to listen to Joe Budden, it feels a little weird because of familiarity, right? Yeah. You go there you understand Joe is the main show, and you've gotten comfortable with his co-host. So it's a little weird hearing different voices, different opinions. You could kind of like plot out what Rory would say in response to a Joe joke or what Mal would say. And that's a little weird, but the actual quality of the show, the exact same.
It's Joe Budden. That's why it's called the Joe Budden Podcast. You know? 100%. And then you're right, because I watched that whole clip you had sent me. I watched the whole thing. But yet again, Joe Budden was the one speaking heavy.
And that's what he does on his show.
Yeah, he's the one that's speaking heavy.
They're just kind of like, and me and Malcolm understand this. Like, we did research on it. It's like, yo, you have generators, you have reactors. But Joe Budden never even allowed them to, like Joe, those guys, bro, it's like Joe, I'm not saying Joe has been devious, but Joe's style of podcasting has really rendered them, like, useless. And not even in that way, because they're still a big part of the show. But it's like, bro, I'm sorry. This is why Academics was coming at these niggas too. Academics been saying it like, yo, bro, Joe don't need y'all niggas. Charlamagne said it too. It's like, bro, you could just replace these niggas with somebody else and it'd be the same show.
Yeah. You're not there for Ryan Mal. No one goes, yo, I'm here to say with Mal. Not majority of the people. Probably like 5%.
We was talking to somebody and they was like, Mal is a little bit boring.
Yeah.
Someone that knows him. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like, respectfully.
He said that and he was like, and he told that person, was like, yeah, people want that, people like that, but as you see, it's a small percentage.
And it can be replaced.
Yeah.
Because you can get someone else to do what he does.
Yeah. But I guess I see where they're coming from. It's just more, Joe Budden is that ego guy,
egotistical,
a bag. He got to have all the power. But that been Joe, so it ain't nothing to it. And I understand where he's coming from, and I'm glad that he said that. You got to understand where your people coming from, what they going through, and it's like understand them personally before you crack a joke. Where they had said that before you crack that joke.
Do you think
I was glad he said that.
Do you think Rory and Mal deserve? Well, not Mal, because Mal came like 2 years into the podcast when they were already the Joe Budden Podcast. Not as big, but on their way. Do you think Rory, who started the podcast with Joe, deserves a percentage of the show?
Rory, I mean, it's like a band breakup at the end of the day. If you're not there to perform, why would I give you money?
Well, I think the reason why, let's look at it like this. He left because I probably didn't have a percentage or wasn't being paid well. I say
if
no.
If I'm in his shoes, yeah, I would feel like I mean to be compensated something. But we know, as the fans or the listeners, we know that Joe is the reason why we're all here. Mm-hmm. And if a band breaks up, yo, I'm here for this guy. He gonna get all the money.
And that's I was here. I heard someone talking about it. I'm like, the reason why I don't think Rory deserves a half is because Joe was already famous when they started the show.
Yeah.
So Rory's like, nigga, if Joe Budden asked me or you to start a podcast right now, or let's not even say Joe Budden, let's say fucking Black Youngster, like, yo, Nick, you want to start a podcast with me, nigga? Fuck yeah. Yeah. Because nigga, I'm on a podcast with Black Youngster. That's automatic eyes.
Come on. Who does do?
Yeah, exactly. Go check out the NickandMalShow, niggas. I'll fucking play it around.
Come on, sock it to me.
Sock it to me.
So,
yeah, man. It's unfortunate. I definitely want to see that podcast get back together just because I have a podcast with my brother too. And it's like, yo, you if they're brothers, I don't know if they're friends or what the relationship is with them really. But you don't want to see or prey on people's downfall like that. And I hope people didn't get that idea from
that's a fact.
The conversation that we had the week prior.
That's a fact. Also the thing is too, after every argument, you guys have a stronger bond.
Right.
Because you guys understand each other more. It's like a relationship, you and your lady, y'all gonna argue. It's like, okay, she don't like when I do that, so I'm not gonna do that.
And eventually, y'all either learn to work with each other, and as you said, build a stronger bond, or like, nigga, fuck it, this shit is just gonna end because there's no working this shit out.
And understand if it's a new problem. You know, if it's the same old, it's like, all right. Because that's the one thing, too. Same old, all right, we might have to break it up. But if it's a new problem, y'all never went through that fire before, that obstacle before, all right, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you might need a little longer break than usual, you know, if it's a new obstacle. If it's a new obstacle, all right, do what y'all need to do, but come back.
If Rory and Ma don't come back, I think Joe Budden needs to make the money move and bring Academics as his co-host.
Didn't they do that before, right, Dad?
No, they had Everyday Struggle.
Oh, the Everyday Struggle.
I think them on a long form platform, just being able to talk about life, because they're friends now. That's the thing. Like, when they were doing Everyday Struggle, Joe really didn't fuck with it because it was just like a mercenary thing. You come here, you're a big head. You come here, you're a big head.
You can't have two big heads, Nick.
Andrew Schultz and Charlamagne the God.
But are they recording every fucking day, every week?
No, I guess not. Well,
that's what makes it a lot easier.
At one point they were.
And what happened when they did? Were they going back and forth?
They argue a lot, but it's the podcast.
But then it fucks the friendship.
So Charlamagne with Joe Budden 100%. I think Charlamagne and Andrew Schultz are kind of more like me and you in the sense that they're more level-headed people.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're being ignorant, they're probably gonna understand, like, all right, I'm being ignorant, or the other one's like, I'm being ignorant. All right, come on, what are we doing here? Let's mend the shit. Joe Budden, as you said, we know he's on destroy mode at times. Like, fuck this, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Like, I think Maul tweeted this cryptic tweet. He was like, respect comes before everything, or something like that. I'm like, damn. You feel me? Like, that's a cryptic tweet. And this was weeks after he wasn't on the show. So it's like, damn, is Joe not learning? Is Joe not coming to his thing like, yo, maybe I was the one that's wrong? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, as I said, I think Academics and Joe Budden can have a successful podcast because...
Can they? Think about it.
The reason why I think Academics understands who Joe is. He's worked with him before. And he is a big personality. I don't think he's a big ego guy. Go ahead.
Do you think Antonio Brown, when he wanted all his money, right? And Chad Ochocinco, when he was the best in the league, do you think they could be on the same team?
At the same time, them being the best in the league? Probably not.
Probably not.
We seen that with AB and fucking Juju. And they wasn't even on the same level.
Well, I wouldn't compare that. Juju's a solid guy, right? But why was Juju so solid? Because everyone's focused on AB.
Yeah.
You understand?
And even they started butting heads, so that's my point. If it was really Chad and Ocho, it would probably have been worse.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a fact.
You know?
So, and this was actually one of the points I wanted to say. Usually, you need that... Valerie Geller. Go read that book if you're into the podcasting game or radio game. It's called Beyond Powerful Radio. She talks about it. When I learned about it, I called you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need a generator, you need a reactor. And people get you fucked up a little bit. They think you're a passive person, but you're passive in certain situations. You're as much of an alpha male and a dominant figure in certain ways. You just have learned how to be a bit more passive at times. Right? Like that shit that Serena posted on IG, I forgot what it was. It was when my boyfriend is being passive. That's how you would be in public, though. Yeah. But if someone really tried to step to you, you would not act like that.
Talk about it.
You feel me? Respectfully, though.
Yeah, that's a fact, bro. Some lines you can't cross, bro. You can do, you can do what you want to do.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, and that's one of the things you talk about. You need a generator, you need a reactor, and those are the best shows. But sometimes you can catch fire in a bottle like The Brilliant Idiots. And that's why Academics didn't work with Star, because Star had his own radio show. Star has his own YouTube show. He's also a generator. That's why they clash head too much. But once again, Charlamagne and Joe Budden worked, and DJ Academics and Joe Budden worked. Charlamagne and Andrew Schultz, DJ Academics and Joe Budden worked. So it's possible.
It is.
It's possible.
I mean, it would be a hot show. Don't get me wrong. But I think at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
Do you think they're good with the cast they have right now? If they was to keep it like that?
The Joe Budden podcast?
Yeah.
People, yeah. Yeah, they're just gonna have to be like, all right, I like this guy for this reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sad game, bro. It is what it is. What happens when friendship turns into a business. Some people you can't go involved with. Some people you can't. Yeah.
You know, I think certain morals have to be there for it to even be workable, because it is going to get tough at times. Yeah, I feel like we'd be vulnerable for a little bit, not too much, but we've been in those fights, and we've always said like we've had those fights and those disagreements. So all
the time, and I see people that come on the show that got a partnership. We ask them the same question: how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Because we students to the game, students to life.
You know what you always
this
say?
Ain't like, no one you could, go ask.
You always say it's easier to work with a woman, right? If it's a woman-man relationship.